Let's review for a moment OSPF areas. We have the backbone area. Now, what area numerically is that? It's area 0. And what purpose does it serve? It serves as the hub of the hub and spoke autonomous system design that we have for OSPF, where the backbone area is the hub area, and then all other areas are spoke areas. And yes, we can get around that restriction somewhat with virtual links, but that's not our focus right now. Our focus is to better understand the choices that we get to make when we are working with these areas. There's also normal areas. These are non-backbone areas that we have done nothing special with. And what makes an area special is really one of a few selections that we can make. We can make areas stub, or totally stubby, or not so stubby. And there's even a version of not so stubby that takes in the totally stubby features. Now, what I want you to understand is what this is really doing for us when we choose an area of the type stub or one of the variants with stub somewhere in the name. What this is a filtering technique. It is an area-based filter where the area border router will filter LSA types of your choosing. And your choosing is based on the name that you give to the area, or it's not necessarily the name that you give, but it's one of these names applies a certain type of filtering. So let's look at a regular area first, just a normal area, so we better understand what we're working with from the default. Area 1 would receive all routes within the autonomous system, and that would include external routes. So if we were to add the internet, and let's just say we've got routes on the internet, and we've added in an ASBR. So we'll say we've got an ASBR here, and we'll have the necessary connectivity to boot between these. Have that necessary connectivity, and away we go. Okay? So what does the ASBR do? What LSA type is it going to inject? These will inject type 3 LSAs. Type 5 LSAs. Let's choose a better color for that. They will inject type 5 LSAs. Those are the external LSAs, right? And so that can be a large number of routes. That's what I want you to think. The ASBR can be injecting an absolute gargantuan amount of routes. Now, normally we don't take routes from the internet and redistribute them all. In fact, is just not done. But let's say instead of being the internet, that this was something like another entire organization. Let's say merged AS, where we have a merger and we now have to take all of their routes and incorporate that into our routing. But maybe we don't want all routes. We want partial routes. Or maybe we want to make sure that we don't overwhelm our stub areas. That really is what stub areas are about. So in a normal area, what would happen is this. Those routes would trickle down through the entire autonomous system. Every device would get those routes. And when I say routes, I'm talking about these type 5 LSAs. Those are going to flow throughout the autonomous system. They're going to flow all the way through. And what if that is, let's say, 2,000 routes from the other autonomous system that we have now just joined forces with and must accommodate their routes? 2,000 routes. Are we going to want all of our areas to be able to see this? Maybe or maybe not. If we have a concern about the overhead of OSPF on our devices, and we know that, let's say, the routers that exist in Area 1, we know are low-end, older routers, and we want to make OSPF run in a more efficient manner. What we can do is this. We can say, I want the area border router for Area 1 to filter off these type 5 LSAs so that the devices in Area 1 don't see those LSAs. That's what a stub area will do. Totally stubby will in fact also filter type 3s. More on that later. I just want to give you an understanding that totally stubby and stubby areas are about filtering. So a stub area is going to filter type 5 and just type 5. Filter type 5. Totally stubby area will filter type 3 and 5. And a not so stubby area will allow redistribution and filter type 5. The reason why that is almost kind of a contradiction is if we're filtering type 5, we're filtering redistributed routes. We're filtering external routes. And allowing us to redistribute in a place that filters redistributed routes is, well, it's maybe not an oxymoron, but it's unusual. Let's just say that. They're kind of opposing forces. So that's what a not-so-stubby area does. So getting a sense of what these do up front is important so that we understand when and when not to use these features.